Hello and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box. And I can see that my head is covering up the man we're talking about, but that's okay because let's give some love to the other great members of the E Street Band because I want to talk about the album that turned Bruce Springsteen into a superstar. And this was 1975's Born to Run. Before this, Springsteen was, if you can believe it, because he's been huge ever since, he was something more of an underground musician. Because Greetings from Ashbury Park, New Jersey, and The Wild, The Innocent, and The E Street Shuffle, they sold, but they weren't huge. He needed a make or break album, and he got that with Born to Run. And it was an album that, in many ways, was out of place in the 70s because the 70s had your AOR rock, it had your prog rock, it had your hard rock, it had your singer-songwriter music, it had your soul, R&B, funk, disco. But where does Bruce Springsteen style music fit in? It isn't country type of rock like the Eagles. It isn't really AOR in the traditional sense. It's sort of like singer-songwriter rock and roll fusion, whereby you take the core elements of singer-songwriter music, strong song structure with Peter Piper, who picked a pack of pickled peppers, strong lyrical content, and combine that with your traditional sort of rock band that almost harkens back to the 50s, but with the expected amplification and virtuosity that was becoming common in the 70s. And voila, you get Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. Now, Born to Run as a song is objectively a really good song. It has all of your rock and roll cliches in there, but still manages to be original. It's all about, life on the road, sort of teenage vagabondism, love, lost loves, the chase for love, lust for life, all of those different concepts. It's got a blistering saxophone solo by the great Clarence Clemons, and it's got a kind of thick production technique that sacrificed definition and clarity for a sort of wide and fat, well, not wide, but really a narrow yet fat sonic palette. And this, again, it's been described as harkening back to what Phil Spector did with his Wall of Sound in the early 60s with bands like the Ronettes and the Crystals and the Righteous Brothers, one of my favorites. Now, this album, though, was chock full of hits. It had Jungle Land, which was sort of one of those showstoppers when he would play it live. It had 10th Avenue Freeze Out, which was great. Backstreets, even Meeting Across the River, Thunder Road is a fan favorite. And this album really created the kind of Bruce Springsteen people know and love because he's done the sort of quieter and contemplative albums, The River, for instance, and even more so Nebraska, very dark, very contemplative. But the format for success for the albums that people love most was the Born to Run format, which 10 years later he repeated with even more success with Born in the USA, with these hard rocking songs, loud drums, hard strumming guitar, great saxophone mixed into it. And those were probably his two most well-known albums, although all of his albums sold very well. Um, he was someone who survived not only by album sales, but he continues to survive because of his larger than life live experiences. He's one of those people who would take a song that might be anywhere between 4 and 7 minutes on the album, and he could stretch it out through a combination of solos, added refrains, rap and spoken word in the middle of a song. Truly, truly an invigorating performer. And that's why his live shows became the thing of legend and still are if you can afford a ticket. There's been some scandals about that lately, but be that as it may, and the irony of a man of the people charging that much for tickets, hey, we've always got the albums, and on Spotify they're next to free now, aren't they? That's Born to Run for you. And if you like this, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time. Take care.